Let's talk butternut squash, people. It's butternut squash season of the year, and if you love them as much as I do and find them so versatile to go in so many different recipes, I've got a couple of tips for you for buying butternut squash and for cutting it. First of all, it's great as a convenience to have the butternut squash already cut up in the grocery store, but wowza, if you're using a lot of butternut squash, butternut squash is expensive if it's already cut. Plus, sometimes I find that it's not as fresh as I'd like it to be. Sometimes it tastes or feels a little slimy. So here we go. I'm going to show you how to buy a butternut squash. So first of all, you want to look for three things. You want to look for a butternut squash that's heavy for its size. You want to look for a butternut squash that is darker in color. The darker in color it is, the better the squash is going to be. And third of all, you want to feel the whole butternut squash. If there are any soft spots, that means it's old and starting to go whoop. So you don't want to buy that. So this is a beautiful butternut squash. Remember, the first thing, even though you're going to cut off the skin, is that you do want to wash the cut butternut squash. I do it with a little soap and water, and I don't have to worry about a vegetable wash or anything else like that. So in order to peel the butternut squash easier, one tip is to make some knife cuts. You can even probably see some of my knife cuts here. I just literally stabbed it with a knife. Some people say stab it with a fork, but honey, this sucker is hard. So I stabbed it with a knife, put it in my microwave for about 2 minutes, and then it's going to be easier to peel because it's kind of cooked the outside skin. So the first thing I'm going to do with this butternut squash is I'm going to cut off the top and the bottom of it. So I'm just going to cut it off just like this. And you do need a good sharp knife. I'm going to put it in my bowl right here. And there we go. Here is the bottom. So I'm starting to do the same thing that I do with any veggie, which is to make it flat on the board. You can always resurrect those pieces later if you want to. The next thing I am going to do is I'm going to cut it in half right above that bulbous part. And it's going to be a little hard, but look, I got it. All right, so now I'm going to set this part aside. And now what I can do is I can easily peel it. And if I want to make it even less likely to rock, roll, and cut myself, I'm going to go ahead and just cut it in half, set that piece aside. And I have two peelers here, and I use them interchangeably. This is called a Y-shaped peeler because its little arms come up in a Y. Some of them are more Y than this, but that's a Y-shaped peeler. And then this is a peeler, and it's got all these little, I wish you could see this, I hope you can, serrated edges on its knife there. And so it will work really well with something slick like this. So I'm going to put it on the board, and then look at this. I'm going to be able to take that skin off so easily. And I'm just going to pile it up in my bowl right there. And look at this. Look how fast I can do it. And I'll set it here and get these. So there we go. And I've got almost all the skin off half of that neck. Whoops, right now. It's a slippery little thing. And we're always using the peeler pointing away from us or peeling away from us. So there we go. That's all the peel off that side. And I'm going to set this aside because I want to show you how to take those seeds out of the middle of the squash. So there we go. That was pretty easy to get through. And then look, we've got seeds. Now, I've seen some people say, oh, well, get your ice cream scoop. Well, you know, sometimes these seeds are a lot harder to get out than an ice cream scoop. Oop, my timer is going off. So I've got several things here I want to show you. So I do have an ice cream scoop, but this is a small one and it's got quite a sharp edge on it. I have a regular portioner. I have a grapefruit knife, and then I have a melon baller. So I think I'm going to start with this melon baller because I think that's going to be the easiest way to get it out because it's sharpest. And look at this. Yay! Okay, but if you have any of those other implements, you could absolutely try using those. So here we go. And I'm kind of just working my melon baller around the outside of all those seeds, and then I'm just going to scrape them right out. And the nice thing about the melon baller is if I've got some that are hanging on in there, I can just quickly take them out. Okay, beautiful. And now I can do the same thing that I did, there it is, with the other side of the squash and go through, but I'm not going to do the whole thing because you're going to get bored watching me. I'm just going to set this aside for just a moment because I want to just show you what to do with it now that you've got the skin off. And you can do this with all 4 of those pieces because now you do have 4 pieces of squash. So I'm going to take my squash, and remember now I have 3 flat sides, so I could choose to cut this any way I wanted to, but the easiest way I think to do it is to go ahead and just cut it just like this. Okay, and then I'm going to take these pieces, and now flat again. Look at how flat I'm making it. You can make these as small or large as you want, but I'm just going to make cubes that are probably about, maybe a ½ inch, a little bit bigger. And here we go. All right, that's how easy it is to chop up a butternut squash without cutting yourself, without having to wrestle with it. I hope you enjoyed this tip, and I hope you make lots of dishes with butternut squash.